1, 2, 3.
My mother caught
A flea. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
Can
You
you
say
sing
it.
that? Can you sing that for me? I don't know it.
1, 2, 3. My mother got flea. She put it in the teapot to boil a cup of tea. The flea jumped out. My mother let it shout. And out came Dickie with short tying out.
Oh, very good.
I know we moved house a lot as children for some reason. My father liked to move house, so we moved several times.
When I was born, we lived in Terranure, and that was a house belonging to Guinness's, that my father worked for Guinness's. And we moved from there to Clontarf, from Clontarf to Dundrum, and then there was loads of other places after that. I won't go into all of that. But I remember when we were living in Clontarf, my mother used to have a fit because we'd be out playing in the garden, and we'd be up on the shed in the back garden jumping off it with umbrellas, pretending we were paratroopers. And how we didn't break legs or arms or anything like that, I'll never know.
One was in Enniskerry, and I remember that very well because my brother and my sister decided to tell me that there was no such thing as Santa Claus. And I was very upset and crying and everything like that. And Mom then convinced me to go back up to the room and look under the bed because I hadn't searched under there properly. And I found a teddy bear. And I was so excited, and I knew then there was a Santa Claus. So she got me back thinking that there was really a Santa Claus.
Another place we were living, there was a wood behind the house at the bottom of the garden, and we all used to go out there with the catapults and be firing stones at each other. I don't know how we didn't lose eyes and everything. It was great fun.
But each time we moved, my mother always made it a beautiful home. She would have made curtains and pelmets, and she was very gifted really in all that making different things.
Mom always made the house lovely, and we always made it feel like home no matter where we were. I think this is my 13th house since I was born, but every house that Mom moved to, she always made it really feeling great.
One memory I do have actually is a huge big picnic we had. We were all, I'd say I was about 7 or 8 maybe, and my mother was from a family of 10, so all her brothers and sisters and all their children, we all got together somewhere. I have no clue where it was, some big field somewhere up the mountains, and we had this fabulous picnic. And for us it was wonderful because we didn't usually see all our cousins together, because I have about 30 cousins, and I always remember on any picnics we went on, Mummy always wore these trousers, were called slacks in those days, and I can still see them. They were kind of a tan colour with little black going through them, and it's the only time you'd see Mummy in trousers or slacks, as I say. And we all thought it was very funny because all the aunts, because we would have been used to seeing them in skirts and blouses and what have you, and they all turned up at this picnic in all their slacks, especially for the picnic. But we had a great time, and I think it was the only time we did it, and it was just lovely for us to see all the cousins and to see all the aunts and my mother in their slacks. Most of my memories are happy memories, but I have a sad memory of when my father died.
My dad died exactly a month after my 9th birthday, and I still get upset about it because I think Mom misses him really an awful lot. She would have loved to have him in older life as a companion, and just for them to be there together and to do things together.
He was only 45, and my sister and myself, the first we knew about it was my sister Cora and myself were in bed, and we heard somebody in the bathroom, and we thought it was my father, and we called him, and my uncle came in, which was very unusual at that time of the morning to have some of the relations in the house. So he told us our dad was very sick and to get dressed and come down. So we did that, and we were wondering what was going on. And when we got downstairs, the house was full of people, and I can still remember my mother crying and saying to somebody, "I don't want the children to see me like this."
It was 1969 and the Men in the Moon were just landing and everything, and he used to be up watching that at night time. And Mom remembers that she heard a big thud or something, and she ran down. We heard this afterwards. She ran down and found him on the floor.
The day my dad died, I don't remember too much about him actually dying because I was away. One of my uncles, Austin, brought me away. It was about a week before he died, down to Silver Strand. We were staying in a caravan there in Silver Strand on a holiday, and that's the last memory I have of my father because he dropped me down. And I remember him, he was standing there. He had this big shock of wavy hair, and he had this pipe which he always had in his mouth, and that's my last memory of my father. At the funeral, I remember standing looking down into the hole in the ground and my dad going down into it in the coffin. Other than that, I have no memories of it, only the fact that I was small. I was 14 when he died, but I was never a very tall kid. I was always small, so I was standing in with the adults and they were towering all over me. So all I can remember is this sea of black coats and looking down into the grave.
So after that, our life changed dramatically, really, because even in all the moves we had in the past, my mother always kept us in the same schools. But then, after my father died, we had to change school. And but now life was okay. Afterwards, my mother was a very strong person, and she went back to work, which was unheard of in those days for somebody, a woman in their 40s going back to work after being a homemaker for so many years.
Then I remember Mom going back to work, and she had to go get ready for interviews, and she was going to have interviews in Irish. She was hoping to get a job in the civil service. To practice her Irish and everything like that, she was studying out of books called Buncha Kaincha. I think that was the name of them. I got anorexia and I was very sick, and I remember the doctors coming up to the house and to weigh me and see how I was and everything like that. I was very, very sick, and I put Mom through a lot of stress and worry. I ended up in intensive care and I got the last rites and everything like that, so she didn't think I was going to live. But she had a strong faith in her religion. She was always quite religious, and she used to pray a lot and everything. But anyway, I did get better. How she kept her job going and keep the house going and everything, I don't know. She was just a strong, wonderful woman.
She'd do anything for her children.
My mother is a very strong person, and she just got on with it. And certainly if I had half her strength, I'd be very pleased with myself.
Would your mother remember any of these stories now?
She has dementia now, and she's nearly 95, and she might remember some of them. Really, she might remember things like me working in the kiosk.
Rosemary used to work in a kiosk, and we used to go down to keep her company, meant to be.
Well, the way she is now, she's nearly, she'll be 95 now at the end of this month. And the way her head is now, she could remember stuff from way back, you know. Her long-term memory is pretty good. It's just the short-term memory is knocked a bit, we'll say, at the moment.
How does her having dementia affect you now?
It's very sad to see her like that, because she was such a strong woman. We always went to her with any problems. We'd go to her with our homework, or my father was for going to play, you know, he'd play games with you and all that, but my mother was the one, if you had a problem, you'd go to. All through our lives, actually, but particularly when we were small with homework and that type of thing, she'd always, she always fix things for us, I suppose. So I suppose now it's hard, it's sad to see her like that, and it's our roles have reversed. she's like a child now, and I'm like the adult, where before I was the child and she was the adult, you know.
Oh, God, it's desperate to see her like that.
But it is very upsetting because she was such a strong-willed, stubborn person, and she still is a strong-willed and stubborn person.
But I mean, that's life, that's age. It'll face, if we're lucky enough to live as long as she has, it's ahead of us all, you know, and there's not a damn thing anybody can do about that. So we just still we love our mother to bits, the three of us, and we still appreciate everything that she has done and the way she brought us up over the years.
Of golden daffodils beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing, fluttering and dancing in the